Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Monday, Mafia Monday. Let's jump into our story. This is going to be a slightly longer scene this time, and we're going to go deep into some politics. This is all pretty important stuff to the plot and the rest of the book. So let's just jump into it. Set your mood right. I got Mr. Snubby as usual, ready to rock and roll. He was always ready. So let's get into California Gangsters, the first book in the Los Angeles Syndicate trilogy that I wrote. I wrote this book 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't really remember everything that I wrote because I've written 3 or 4 other books since this. But let's jump into it. That weekend, I went to see my father for our monthly visit. Usually we would go out to dinner at his restaurant in Beverly Hills. Sometimes, if my mom felt like cooking for us, I would go up to the house and have a real home-cooked meal. I missed those meals and being able to smell the aroma of flavors from anywhere on the property. I never once had to be told when the food was done. I could smell it like a hungry dog. Unfortunately, my father wasn't hungry this time, so I met him out at the Beverly Hills Gun Club in the parking lot. I parked in the guest parking spot while he had his vehicle in the VIP space by the building. When I got over to him, he opened up the trunk of his car, and it was full of gun bags. I grabbed the largest one to be helpful and said, "Jesus Christ, what the heck do you have in here? A ton of bricks?" My dad always had an air of condescending superiority to his demeanor when talking to me. He flipped his nose up like a well-groomed poodle at a dog show and said, "Yes, Simon, that is full of ammunition, son. We will need it for what I brought to play with." He grabbed a couple large bags, putting them over his shoulder. We made our way inside. We went to a private shooting range area in the back of the building. As we entered the range, my father whispered to a man standing in the corner, who quickly ordered the room to be cleared out. Without saying a word, people packed up their guns and collected their targets. Each man stopped to shake my father's hand as they left the soundproof room. When the last man had left the doubled-up safety doors, my father opened up his long bag, pulling out a black military-grade assault rifle. I asked, laughing, "What's that? Are we allowed to shoot that in here?" My father looked up at me with a gleam in his eyes and said, "Simon, this here is a brand new M60 machine gun. I picked it up from a friend of mine. It shoots a giant bullet that looks like a missile. It's 7.62 by 51 millimeter caliber. This weapon easily shoots through brick walls or through the engine block of a car. It will take any body part off a human body. If you shoot a guy in the arm is gone." I'd never seen anything like it before, and I said, "Well, let's see what it can do." My father taught me how to load up the belt-fed weapon and how to set it on its tripod. He brought these funny targets which look like silhouettes of old-time Hollywood movie gangsters. He told me with a smirk on his face, "Just pretend that these guys are the Chinese triads." I asked bluntly, "Let me ask you something, Pop. Why did all those dudes stop and shake your hand? We've been here together before, and people don't usually do that here. What's new that you haven't told me yet?" He had his ear protection on, pretending not to have heard me. He gave me the thumbs up, then pulled back the trigger on the long machine gun, letting her rip. The weapon of war rang out. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. With the ear protection on, the gun sounded like a fucking typewriter. The paper target was shredded beyond recognition. He took off his ear protection with a huge smile on his face and asked me, "Sorry, what did you say?" I replied, "Why did those men treat you like you were the Don?" He stood up, kicking the pile of shell casings off the floor around his feet. He looked at me with glossy eyes like he was going to cry or something. I've always had a hard time reading my father's emotions. He said, Tommy Guns is in prison and he's very sick. The feds took down a few of the Syndicate board members last month. Tommy's done for. I'll be getting a chance to move up into his chair. I was shocked and didn't know how to respond. I replied, Tommy Bagoda, the boss, is locked up? Oh man, well, that sucks. My father said, Simon, forget about him. He's finished and he's gonna die soon. I replied, you think they will pick you to take his place? My father said, yes, of course. I have a lot of influence in the family and I'll most likely get the vote. But if I do get control of the family, I'll have to pay over $1 million to be a board member of the Syndicate. I'll also be inducted as a member of the commission back east, like Tommy was when he joined the board. I replied in excitement, wow, the Syndicate. My father took my arm saying, yes, boy, keep it down. Even these walls have ears. I replied to him, when is all this going to happen? He said, very soon. And that, my son, is why all those men wanted to congratulate me. I sat down in the chair ready to shoot the gun. I took my turn and it was really exhilarating. I enjoyed the feeling of the trigger as bullet after bullet sped out of the barrel with the shells hitting the floor near my feet. My father sat down next to me on the bench as I took off my ear protection. He said, Simon, I want you to step up your game. You're going to be the next person in the Syndicate after me. You and I are going to take over the company together. As soon as I get Tommy's chair on the board, I will put you up for membership. But look here, here's the deal. You will only be eligible for a seat at the table if you have a very powerful crew of your own and several legitimate businesses that make you a millionaire. You have to control many major rackets and have valuable turf. I looked confused at him and replied, what are you talking about? Me on the board of directors? I don't understand why not Frank or someone else. My father said, Frank is a loser. You're a winner. Now listen up. I want you to start off with the gambling rackets. You know how it works and have a strong connection to college ball. Start thinking about rackets to take over in this town and get on it. I replied, okay, Pop, I'll figure something out. He leaned in closer and said, here's a tasty nugget of local news. Your grandfather will be stepping down from the downtown gangster mob. We're all talking behind closed doors about how he is going to step away. We're going to figure out who gets his men and divide up his rackets. He's not chosen an heir to his throne and is very clear about closing down his operation completely. So his turf will be open season. Nothing like this has happened before. I replied, Grandpa is leaving the Syndicate? Why? If he gives up downtown, won't the Chinese take over? My father had a more reserved tone. He said, Simon, your grandfather is very old. He just wants to live out his last days as a civilian and enjoy his life. I don't blame him. I've encouraged him to step away before he goes out like Tommy Guns or Big O. I sat there stunned and then replied, wait, Big O is gone also? My father said, yes, Big O is gone to Supermax prison out in Colorado. The Mexican Mafia has already replaced him. And last but not least, old Stanley Bates, the Jew, is stepping away from the board as well. He's in the process of making a huge deal to sell everything off to the Russians. The Russians, can you believe it? This is going to make Stanley the richest gangster that's ever walked the planet Earth. I replied, so basically the entire Syndicate board of directors is about to change. My father dumped the large black gun bag of ammo on the table and said, we're not taking all this crap home. Help me load this gun up again. I replied, what is Frank going to say if I start my own crew this soon? He's still my boss. My father loaded the weapon for his turn. He put on his ear protection. He said loudly, Simon, let me talk to your uncle about things next week, and then you can start making moves. The board wants the leader of the Chinese triads killed. The family got the hit, and I'm going to give it to you. This pays more than anything you've ever done before. I greedily asked, how much do I get for the hit? My father said, for the leader of the Chinese mafia, you could earn $1 million. I replied, okay, Pop. I have a lot on my plate right now. This is a lot to process. My father smiled and said, now watch out. I'm gonna light this barrel up. Let's see how red it can get. Put those ear goggles on, son. All right, let's stop here. We'll go to the next scene next Monday. Thanks for watching.